This is our cacao. We got an importation from Peru, from Piura, which is the northern province of Peru. We buy from Cepi Cafe, which is an association of cooperatives that helps get smaller cooperatives products to market. They have the marketing power and the logistics capabilities to do what smaller co-ops can't. So these are all organic certified and fair trade certified beans. Our facility itself is not fair trade or organic certified because we do use some products, especially local products, that most of which are de facto organic, but they're not certified. Along with our cacao, we also bought a pallet of Peruvian organic brown sugar. It's a beautiful sugar that has a full flavor because it hasn't been refined whatsoever. It's just cooked and ground. So from the bags, we bring them over here to sort it out. So right now I have a sack of cacao from the Moribund province. And what I'll do is a few scoops at a time, lay it out on this homemade screen. And this allows us to get rid of any foreign materials, like fibers from the jute bags or sticks, stones, broken pieces of beans. So we shake out anything that wants to fall through the screen, and then sort it out by hand. So I'll look through these beans, and I just want to make sure that I've just got the plumpest beans. They're all intact. They have their skins on, and they're not flat. This is an example of a bean that's flat and has nothing to give me. And I'll just go through handful by handful, and just make sure that what's going into our cacao or into our chocolate is just the highest quality cacao. So once I get a bucket full, it's about 10 kilos. That happens to be the amount that we can fit into an oven at a time. Here we have two different ways of roasting our beans. The first is a convection oven, natural gas powered convection oven. We've got two decks, so we can do 20 kilos at a time. The other way is up on our roof. We'll go see it in a minute. It's a prototype solar roaster. So the roasting tube is an absorber. It's painted with a high temperature paint that's used on charcoal grills, and you can see it needs touch up. But the way it works, this gets locked into place, and it's spinning on a spit. And that spit has a gear motor attached to that end, which is controlled by the photovoltaic panel up at the top of the panel. So this gets oriented toward the sun, and I can control the axis by cranking on this winch here. Set it up so it's aligned with the sun, and then I control the azimuth through just simple rotation. And powered only by the photovoltaic panel, I can turn the roasting tube to keep a nice even roast while the sun's rays concentrate. The concept here is the parabolic trough solar concentration, and the nature of a parabolic trough is such that parallel rays, which is for all intents and purposes when the sun is properly aligned, the radiation is parallel. Parallel rays will reflect to a focal line, and so the sun becomes my heating elements. So right here and right here, you get a really bright spot where the sun concentrates off of the mirrors, and it'll heat up to about 360 degrees right there. I need I need a temperature slightly lower than 300 degrees to adequately roast my beans. So it needs some more work. It's a prototype. I made it in my basement over the last several months, but it in theory and in practice in small batches it works. It works really well. We have a chocolate downstairs right now that's made with solar roasted cacao and 81% chulucanas. This is a throwback to the type of refinement that was done in the early days of industrial chocolate making, called the mélangeur. And the mélangeur is basically it's a set of stone wheels placed against a stone base. And so as the wheels turn, the cacao gets pulverized, and any other inclusions you put in at this point, the sugar, the milk powder, what have you, it gets ground against the wheels, friction heats it up, and because chocolate is a fat-based system, because we've cooked all the water out of it, and all that's left is protein and carbohydrates and fat. The triglycerides, the cocoa butter, is the operative aspect that controls the fluidity of the system. So once it gets up to a certain temperature, it becomes molten and just runs around in there. Here we see a batch running right now. What is this, Crawford? Tune-base. Oh, this is tune-base?
Yeah, 4 hours.
So this has been in for 4 hours at this point. Mark will tell you it does smell incredible. During this refinement period, we're not only breaking down the seed into smaller and smaller bits, we're also simplifying the chemical makeup of the chocolate. There are thousands of different chemical compounds, and we're trying to narrow it down to a more defined variety of chemical compounds that give us the flavors that we want. So in this process, we're cooking off, evaporating off some volatiles, some acids that contribute to more bitterness and astringent qualities to the chocolate. So we're just narrowing down to the flavors that we really want to see in the chocolate. And we can keep this going for anywhere from, you can see how smooth it is already after 4 hours. We could pull it after 12 hours if we wanted. Sometimes we'll go up to a period of 3 days. So once the chocolate is fully refined to our liking, we'll pour it out into blocks. This is an example of a brick, 7 to 10 pound brick of chocolate, and it'll sit there until we're ready to melt it down and temper it and mold it into bars. So this is our tempering room. We have this piece of equipment here is a temperer depositor. It's got a batch of our malted milk chocolate in it right now. It's a very well received chocolate. It uses cacao from chulucanas, and it uses malts from a malt house right here in this part of the country called Riverbend. They're the first malt house of their kind on the East Coast, and they're right down in Mills River. And so what this allows us to do is to fill our molds, our custom molds, with a drizzle of chocolate at a known dosage. So by pushing on a foot pedal, I slide my mold underneath, and by pushing on a foot pedal, it'll dispense just the right amount to my specifications. And then once the bars are poured out, you can see what they look like there. This one I'm holding in my hand here is a Bolivian single origin. It's a 77% cacao chocolate from the Siab cooperative in Alto Beni region of Bolivia. So these chocolate bars need to weigh something close to 60 grams. We can tolerate a small amount above that, but not too much below it. Once the bar is weighed and meets our specs and has a nice appearance, we will wrap it in foil. If it doesn't have a nice appearance or is overweight or underweight, it will either be used for sample or it will be melted down and retempered and poured out again. Once the bars are in this state, we will fix a small bit of colorful ribbon around the foil, and then once the bar gets papered, we'll be able to identify it at a moment's glance by the color of the foil. Color of the ribbon, yes. And that's a finished product.